Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mongoolie Show. We got a great show for you this week. We've got all the stuff going on last week, including the Merch for Money kits and the Old Man Logan trials. This week, we're going to be talking about how to unlock Penny Parker. And for the hot topic, I've actually got Run 7 here to talk with that for me. Ran a little bit long, but it's a great conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. Stick around. And if it is an option, fucking tell us already, because that would have alleviated so much of this anger. First thing I want to talk about is Taco Shooter's exit from the game. Now, Taco Shooter was an Envoy as well as a Twitch streamer for this game, and he stepped away from the Envoy program, I believe, a little while ago over a dispute with someone else, and he has decided now that he is done playing Marvel Strike Force. So he has quit the game, he has uninstalled, he's done his goodbye tour, he's gone. Now, the nice thing is, I'm sure that you will still see him around in the community. If you're used to watching his streams, I'm sure he'll still do, happy hour as well as his Goose Goose Duck games. So I'm sure you'll still get your fill of taco. Sounds weird. But he's not going to be playing Marvel Strike Force anymore. On top of that, Beta Ray Bill has stepped down from his very competitive alliance to a more casual alliance. He's not leaving the game per se, but don't expect him to be the first person to have Professor Xavier unlocked either. We'll have to see if he sticks with that or if he comes back to it. Maybe he's just burnt out for a little while. I'm not 100% sure, but that was the start of the week. That's how this week got started. We also saw the start of the All That Glitters event and the M is for Mercs. Now, I can't stress enough, this month is going to be a little bit unexciting for Marvel Strike Force. That said, I'm okay with it. There's enough other stuff going on. I didn't really need a try-hard event on top of all that. Like, there's so much happening in this month that we have to get ready for that we'll discuss, that I'm pretty okay with this being a month that I can be a little bit more slack on for the main event. Kind of gives you a chance to go and work backwards through your account and be like, okay, what characters did I miss that I want to start working on? As well as, of course, there is a plethora of new characters coming out, and every single one of them is 100% necessary for some type of game mode. So I wouldn't say that I am skipping this event entirely, but I'm definitely not trying as hard as I normally would. I didn't even bother making a video for it because I was honestly just looking at it like, I'm not going to spend power cores on this event. I'm just going to save my power cores for a later date. That's totally fine with me. Now, for the plus side, we got this little tight blog where saying the Spider Society Showcase event is going to get extended until May 14th, which is great for free-to-play players because that means you should be able to unlock Penny B. Parker, no, just Penny Parker, and be able to actually play her nodes to this. That's actually a huge plus for free-to-play players. Good job, Scopely. Well done. On Thursday, we had two massive pieces of news drop, and unfortunately, one completely outshouted the other, and it came out pretty quickly. As an Envoy, we were given access to the Merch for Money kits and allowed to do embargoed videos, so they'd have to release all at the same time. Now, the unfortunate part about that is a lot of the Envoys will all be making pretty much the same video that all comes out at pretty much the same time. But I chose to make a video for that. I spent quite a bit of time doing it. And then we found out there was going to be a huge piece of news dropping like 2 hours later that was going to, like, predictably piss off a lot of the community. So guess what everybody talked about on Thursday? Sure as shit wasn't this video with its 37 views in 3 days. So instead, everybody was talking about this Logan, You Still Have Time, which is going to be the Old Man Logan trial event. Now, I'm not quite as down on this as everybody else is. I'm actually a little bit more pissed off of the day that it came out, more so than anything else. I don't think it's good for the game necessarily, but I understand from Scopely's perspective why they felt it was necessary. Quite frankly, the legendary events had gotten too easy, and so they're just reining them back in a little bit. I'm not entirely sure that gating them behind stars is the right call. I'd rather the events got harder as opposed to being legitimately paywalled, but this is the new normal, at least for now, so we just kind of got to get on board and move forward, or quit is really the only two options. Third option is you just ignore this character, but he seems like he's going to be a freaking beast. If you want to know what this kit looks like, you can check out my video, be the 38th viewer on it. Thanks. And not really Marvel Strike Force news, but just sort of exciting for me. I got to join Gideon today on his stream. We did a live stream for about an hour or so, just going over some questions and whatnot. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link down below. It's worth your time. It was a fun thing. I really enjoy Gideon. He's a very well-spoken individual. He really knows his stuff. And we had a pretty good banter back and forth. So if you want to check that out, you want to get a little bit more Mongoolie this week, that's a great way to do it. Another great way to do it is to go to twitch.tv/The Mongoolie Show and hit the follow button so you know when we go live. We go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Self-promotion over. We also saw the release of Penny Parker this week for we also saw the release of Penny Parker this week. Now, not only is the Spider Society team going to be really, really good in the raids, but also they turn out to be really good in defense in room number 2 of Cosmic Crucible. If you see this team, you're going to want to bring your Hive Mind out and either replace Venom with Apocalypse or Super Skrull, and you should make short work of this team. Good luck. All right, enough of the past. Let's move forward and take a look at this blog. I love that it's called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves. If you don't understand that title, read a book. What we're going to be doing, we have the Battle Pass coming out, which is going to feature Peter B. Parker. That's going to be starting on Monday. There's going to be a Spider-Woman Blitz if you don't have her all the way up. What else we got? We got the Panda Pool initial release on Tuesday, so that's going to be the one where you can pay for them with power cores. Allied Arachnite event starts, and then on the 10th, we're going to have the Marvelous Mothers Blitz event. It also has all of the kits in the blog, so if you want to go and read them, you can, and if you want to have somebody read them to you, go check out my video. I'll leave the link down below. Now, the Beware the Bear, this is the May 7th thing where they're going to release the character. They clearly didn't change the language. It still says it's all webbed up for a chance to get 180 Panda Pool shards, which is clearly some Spider-Man language, not bear language, but whatever. It also mentions the Wasteland Road Trip, Lock and Load, the upcoming Mercs for Money Snooper Showcase. This new adventure ushers in the next chapter of the Age of X, joining the Mercs for Money as they traverse the ever-dangerous Wasteland and score a way back home for the Lost Spider Society. The secondary team for Wasteland Road Trip is Spider-Verse. Now, it's interesting that it is Spider-Verse and not Spider Society, so that means it's going to be open wide up, so that's actually pretty good. Now, as far as the difficulties go, we always see this where, you know, the test drive is going to be really easy, but you're going to have to test out the team. You're going to get rewards of Deathpool, Deadpool, Ghost Spider, Spider-Man Noir, Kraven, and Spider-Man 2099 shards. So if you're a newer player or you've got a baby account, this is usually a great way to get some good character shards. If you're an older character or an older player, I guess, you know what I'm saying. This isn't going to do a whole lot for you, but obviously it's just a fun way to test out the new characters. We've got the different story mode. We got the different modes, including story, challenge, Mercs for Money, and bonus. As per usual, challenge mode, it will require you to have the characters. Mercs for Money requires you to have them at 4 yellow stars, and bonus requires you to have them at 6 yellow stars. So unless you're willing to spend money, I think challenge is probably as high as you're going to get. All right, Raid Store update. This one's actually pretty exciting. We're rolling out big updates for the Raid Store on May 10th that'll get Awakened abilities and Crimson Orbs into your hands faster. So Awakened abilities are going to cost regular Raid credits. Let's take a look at that. All right, so you can see my mouse up here. These are your regular raid credits. You see I've got 900,000 of them. And then these are your elite credits. I've got 100,000 of them. Now, annoyingly, I did have like 240,000 and I started buying these pretty heavily. So if I'd waited like a week and a half, I'd be in much better shape for that Crimson Orb. That kind of sucks, but so be it. It's on me. So you want to start collecting these for Crimson Orbs. Stop buying Awakened abilities right now if you're already buying them. You should have so many regular raid credits to spend on Awakened abilities. You'll be fine. Absolutely no news so far about Green Goblin's Awakened abilities. This specifically says Nova and Black Cat. Also, no price on how many elite credits you're going to have to spend to get elite raid credits. Or, for that matter, how many you're going to spend for the Awakened abilities. They might really jack the price up knowing that people have more of them. We'll have to see. All right, it's time almost for another character poll. We're getting a lot of these things nowadays, which I have mixed feelings on. This next one, they're just saying that Man-Thing won, which I mean, most of us probably already knew he was winning the entire time. The next one is going to be for Karen Page again. Now, we know we're getting Karen Page out of the 3 reporters or the 3 side characters that there were, but now you're going to have a chance to actually affect the character, which is kind of cool. So essentially, you're going to be able to vote on her mentor. Now, her mentor is not necessarily a rework or even a playable character on her team. It might just be the sense that it's going to change how she looks. So starting on May 8th, you can make those votes. And when you vote, you're going to gain 50 power cores and 50 campaign energy per vote. You can vote once per day as per normal. So you can either vote for Elsa Bloodstone, and when Elsa Bloodstone as her mentor, Karen Page was gifted a fragment of the Bloodstone and trained in all manners of combat, specializing with a crossbow. Morbius is the one that sounds cool to me. With Morbius as her mentor, Karen Page learned to access more of her newfound vampiric powers, gaining the ability to sprout wings and claws. Yes, please. Dr. Voodoo. With Dr. Voodoo as her mentor, Karen Page was trained in the mystic arts, learning spells to help control her thirst and decimate her enemies. My vote's on Morbius 100% on that one, but I mean, you do you. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Tell me in the comments where your head's at on that. There's just a little blurb here. Can't miss double. Ironically, it's one sentence, but it's saying can't miss. I had to highlight it to make sure I didn't miss it. Rack up even more XP with the Flash event going on now and lasting until May 5th, which is Sunday at 2 p.m. Earn double XP from campaign nodes. If you're a newer player or you've got a baby account, this is fantastic news. Make sure you are playing the game hard and getting as much of this as you can. Free Claim Friday, you're going to be able to get, well, the big thing is the penny shards, but I mean also some incursion, energy, shiny coins, and 10,000 mission supply points. All right, and as far as next week's events go, we're looking at the M is for Merc's event. Along came a spider, power up your mech. What you're going to be doing is team up your Spider Society and raids and snatch bonus orb fragments from ISO 8 campaign nodes. Let's take a look at the chart. All right, it's a big chart. We have to make it a little bit smaller so you can see it. You can see that your Peter B. Parker, your Pavitar Parker, and your Penny Parker, whether you've got them unlocked 5, 6, or 7 yellow stars, are going to gain you points. Obviously, this is the event to unlock Penny Parker, so you're not likely to have her at 5, 6, or 7 by the time this is over, unless you're spending a ton of money. You can also earn 1 Spider Tech Orb Fragment. Again, that's going to be from ISO 8 campaigns. So make sure you are saving up your ISO 8 starting right now if you want to do the best you possibly can at this event. There are, I think it's 40 shards for Penny Parker at the reasonable level and another 30 shards lower down if you can really get down that far. As well, it's nice to point out there's there's 2 different diamond orb fragments on the line. These are not diamond dawn orbs, these are diamond orbs, which is actually really good, and they start up at milestone 16. It's still a whale milestone, but it's a really low whale milestone. So maybe you can get your hands on some of that if you try real hard. You've also got the mercenary contract, a bunch of mission supplies, but let's talk about exactly how we're going to do this, because there is, of course, a feeder event, and for the record, this is an 8-day event where you're going to want to be playing raids. All right, here's the feeder event where you're going to want to earn Alliance credits. Now, earning Alliance credits is where you donate to your Alliance to get points. You can get 650 points of those a day. If you times that by the 8 days for this event, that's going to be like 5,200 points. You only need 3,200. So even if your Alliance can't max out that event every day, make sure you're doing your best, and you can... you should be able to do this event without really any problem, as long as your Alliance is mildly engaged, right? Like if your Alliance isn't doing anything, this is going to be really tough for you. But if your Alliance is heavily engaged, you're going to fly by this, and somewhere in the middle, you'll have to figure out exactly where your points are. If you do this, you're going to get 4 orbs, which is nice, for 8,000 points towards the event, as well as 40,000 milestone points and 30,000 mission supply points. So this event, if you max it, is going to be good for 48,000 points towards the main event that it's feeding into. So 48,000 points gets you just shy of milestone 11 right there. You should have Peter B. Parker and Pavitar unlocked, so that'll get you your milestone 11, which is nice. It's not quite the last 10 milestones as well, or the missionary contract for that matter, mercenary contract for that matter, but it's not bad. And then you'll just have to farm ISO 8 nodes to get those last couple of points that you're going to need to top you over the edge. Basically, it looks like if you want to get the mercenary contract, you're going to need to get 20,000 points or 20,000 orb fragments on top of that other feeder event from doing ISO 8 campaigns. So over the course of 8 days, hopefully we're going to get a pretty good ratio of payment for that, but we won't know that until the event goes live. And of course, there'll be some kind of a free claim online as well. So come back on, what day is this? Monday? May 6th. Yeah, come back Monday and we'll go over this event a little bit more in depth. Allied Arachnids is another Alliance-wide event where you're going to be doing raids or battling in raids, as well as collecting Allied supply orb fragments in order to progress. You're going to be doing this as an Alliance, which is really nice. Let's get into the chart. All right, so all you need to do is play a raid battle. You don't need to actually win it, which is really nice. It does cap out pretty low, I think. 57,000 is not great, considering this goes all the way up to 300,000. So that's going to be a lot of Allied supply orbs you're going to have to pick up. But on the plus side, that's only about 12 raids a day, which is very, very doable. So hopefully your entire Alliance can max that out. If you do, you are actually going to get some Spider-Man or Spider Society shards, I guess. It's going to take you a little bit down to get to these Peter B. Parker and Spider-Man Pavitar, which are, of course, the ones that are coveted, as Noir and Ghost Spider have been out for quite some time. There is also a diamond on Spider-Man Noir. So if you can get down low enough and you don't already have him, fantastic. And a bunch of Crimson gear, which, I mean, everybody needs at this point. And the quick rumble is for Marvel Moms, which is an interesting trade. I'll have to check if that's in game yet or not. Here is a quick picture of the chart, just in case anybody cares. Really nothing going on here we're not used to. All right, unfortunately, you can see it doesn't actually have the Marvelous Moms tag in the game just yet, so we can't see who it is. We know Sue Storm and Spider-Woman and Jessica Jones is going to be on that list. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure which characters are moms or are not moms or which ones they're going to count, but we'll come back and check that out later. It's just a quick rumble blitz anyways. It's nothing terribly fancy. All right, now as I mentioned, we are joined by Run 7 for the hot topic. This is a segment that I'm liking to add to the show. We're going to get a different content creator on, hopefully every week or so, and we're going to go over something really big in Marvel Strike Force. Generally, I would love it if one of us stayed positive and one of us stayed negative, but it's hard to have a positive spin on this topic, and it does kind of run a little bit long, so I understand if you bounce out halfway through, but I really enjoyed this conversation. I didn't really have anything that I could really cut from it, so here it is in most of its entirety. Enjoy. All right, we are joined live here with Run 7 here on the Hot Topic. Today we're going to be talking about the Old Man Logan trials and how great or terrible they're going to be for the player base, depending on which side of the free-to-play or Kraken discussion you are. Now, obviously, I'm going to take the positive side on this one. I went negative last week, so Run 7 is going to be the negative one here. I think he's got the easier job on this one, as there's a lot to be negative with on this. But until the event actually starts, we can see exactly how it's going to play out. I'm choosing to be cautiously optimistic about this. Am I just being completely foolhardy on this, Run 7? Is this doom and gloom all the way, or where do you land?
I think if you were new to this game and this company, I think coming in with optimism and hope is a great plan for any game. But I've been here for almost 6 years, and so I am coming guns blazing at this company anymore. I'm really upset about this. I'm going to let them know, and I hope that somewhere along the line they make some sort of changes, or that the community, if the community feels the same way as me, that they speak up about it, because I'm really disappointed with Scopely.
Which aspect of the Old Man Logan trials specifically has you frustrated?
The biggest part of this is that we've gone back to stargating characters. You cannot get higher than 4-star Logan without paying for offers. Unless they start giving us more shards before this event comes, as it stands, and keep in mind, I pay my $80 a month subscription fee by buying all the battle passes. I can't get Logan higher than 4 stars without purchasing an offer for Iron Patriot and some other characters in my roster as well. And that's not cool. Used to be the previous trials and scourges, you could go in there with whatever you had unlocked, assuming that it met the requirements, which was just the character, right? You just had to have the team for that node, no star requirements, and you could go in there and do your best. And that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to invest time instead of money, recycling these nodes over and over and over, and use my skill and talent and whatever things I can glean from my friends in the community to do my best. And Scopely says, nope, doesn't matter how good you are, you're not getting any further without paying for it.
Now, would it upset you less if the nodes were significantly harder but not gated? So essentially, you would still need a 5-star character to get through it, but it's not an actual gate that stops you. It's just, you can try, but you're just going to get stonewalled significantly.
Absolutely.
Would that be the same problem for you?
I mean, technically, it's not the same problem, but yes, it is the same problem, right? I get what you're saying, right? Essentially, it's the same problem, but I have the opportunity to outsmart the developers by using a tactic that they didn't think of, or because I do believe that a lot of their testing is done on the aggregate, running programs over and over and over of just like randomly kind of. And I could sit down and work through a situation and find my way through, not to mention the community generates lots of ideas and stuff so that we could beat those odds. But even if it came out that no matter what, I got to have, these characters built up to 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars for whatever unlock I want, just because of the difficulty, I would much more appreciate that, because then I get to choose. I get to choose and go, man, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, or I don't have the time to invest trying to recycle these nodes and rerun these nodes over and over to get through. And that's me. I get to make that decision. Scopely's taking that decision away from me. I am just playing a script. I get to do, it's not much better than a blitz rotation, right? Scopely tells me exactly what I use, where I use it, and how big they have to be, and then I just push the buttons and let it go. They might as well have me sim the whole thing, because it's not interesting to me. I don't get to theory craft at all. I don't get to build anything interesting. They built a team. They built the Cabal team. It's designed to theory craft with other villains, and then they pick the 2 characters we have to use with them? That's absurd. And they're garbage characters too. Loki and Emma, useful, very useful characters. I have zero desire to build them any bigger on my roster because their passives and their kit-based stuff works just fine where they're at, and that is an absolute waste of resources in a currently very, very tight resource management game. Like right now with Dark Dimension 7 coming out, I desperately need gold. I have the choice of doing what Scopely tells me or spending gold to try and hunt for Mephisto. And do I want to let down my alliance and not be good in raids, or do I want to have the big character later on so I can succeed in war and Cosmic Crucible? It's going to be really tough. And so for them to tell me that I have to invest a bunch of gold and gear into 2 tunes that I absolutely do not want to build any higher than what are already out of my roster just really upsets me. And we've been talking about agency for years now, and for them to just completely go the opposite direction, what are they thinking? I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting because the last time I did one of these, I did it with Updog, and we were talking about the spotlight raids. And my big complaint there was we don't have any agency because you were telling us we need to build these 2 exact teams. And I got a surprising amount of pushback from the community. People who I would not have thought were like, no, dude, this is just the way it is. We just need to build the teams they tell us to build. And I'm like, that's why is that fun? Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to have at least another option? And here we're getting another Scourge trial where, again, we have no choices on these 2 nodes. And now people are upset. I'm like, why did this not piss you off with the raids? Anyways, sorry. I'm supposed to be the positive one. Now, as far as Loki and Emma goes, they are weird choices to me, but because Bifrost is currently a raid team that is heavily in use, my Loki is already fairly highly built, and my Emma is not highly built. I think we took a look at her and she was like level 65, like 85,000, something like that. So she's got a ways to go, but she's only actually required on 1 node. So assuming you don't need to sack node 10, you could let her die as long as your Cabal and Loki is strong enough to finish that 1 node, and you don't need her for the rest of it. And unlike, say, Cosmic Crucible, you don't need an efficiency rating. So I'm going to have resources ready for her, but I'm not building her up until I know for a fact that I absolutely need her for this event, because she does everything I need her to do at level 65.
Right.
Like,
and
she's
that's
fine.
absolutely what you should do. Right? That's absolutely what you should do. Don't build until we know, and not test server know, but actual live server know what's going to happen. Don't build anything. Hopefully, Scopely will just change this and give us a better set of characters, or the best thing ultimately would be for us to be able to choose any non-mythic, non-legendary villain to pair with the Cabal members. That would be fantastic. That's what they built the team to do. Why don't they let us do it? Why don't they let us have some fun with that? We're already gated everywhere else. I mean, well, I guess not everywhere else. It's actually only the Out of Time and Cabal members, right? And
Yeah.
Emma Loki. So we're already gated on those. Why not let us have some fun and choose the villains that we want to use?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you've got Captain Carter, Captain America, Namor, Loki. Like, most of the characters, realistically, you should have at 7 stars. It's really just the other 5. But the problem is they're being really stingy with Iron Patriot, so he's going to be a tough one to get up to that many stars.
Well,
now, we
and
do
don't
have
forget
another
Black
event.
Knight. Don't forget Black Knight. Where are you going to get shards for Black Knight if you're newer to the game and you don't have him unlocked or don't have the stars on him? We have no idea. We've heard about Pocket Dimension, but I don't know what that's rewarding. We've heard about this orb that's supposed to have Cabal and Out of Time shards in it, but no specifics on that. We don't know how many or what characters of those teams are going to be in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that just going to be Captain Carter, Captain America, and Namor, like old tunes in that orb? We don't know. So there's a lot of
I
unknowns.
would hope not, but yeah, it's hard to say.
And they could lighten the load by making sure those numbers are boosted for where we need them to be in some of those areas, but that doesn't fix it. That just makes it less bad.
Yeah. I still think that this event is going to be better than the old legendary system. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about like Nick Fury and Omega Red and stuff like that. I'm not talking about Green Goblin or
right. You're talking about legendary
Apocalypse
unlocks as opposed to trials and scourges.
Yeah. Now, you've been playing for longer than I have. So the last one of those was Omega Red. And I want to say he was the first one where I had even a chance to unlock him on the first go around. And I'm not even convinced that I did. Like, that's just where my player journey was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I'm sure that felt normal, right? Like, that a character would come up and you'd be like, I'm going to try, and I'd get like enough shards to make myself happy, but not enough shards to actually unlock the character. And then the next time he came around, it was pretty much a guarantee to unlock, because that's the way shards work, is shards build on themselves. So you can actually work towards the character over time. So if you're going, like, if that's one side of the pendulum, which is not great by any stretch of the imagination, and then the other side of the pendulum is the new, the way Nova was, where a lot of people were getting 6 or even 7 stars on him on the very first pass. That's a little too far in this direction. I'm hoping the pendulum is just swinging back and maybe stop somewhere in the middle. I'm not convinced that's what we're seeing right now, but this is only their first time. Scopely usually takes a couple of tries to get something right. So maybe this one will be a little bit rough, and then the next legendary character will have a bit more rewarding feel to it, is what the wording I'm going to go with that, because
I get what you're saying. So what you're saying is that the free-to-play players had trouble getting lots of stars on a legendary back with the old system. And then when they introduced trials and scourges, you could get more stars than what maybe Scopely wanted, as they weren't making enough money, right? People were getting too many stars on a character. If they came out with this Old Man Logan trial and it was really, really hard to get anywhere, I would be influenced to spend money to do better if I couldn't get through it with skill. But that's not the case. They're just telling me straight up, you can't get through it without opening up your wallet. Now, I opened up my wallet for Omega Red because I loved that character. And that's kind of how things worked back then. But we moved away from that system, and that was fantastic. Did they balance out the trials? No, we always talk about which trial was out of balance or challenging. There was always a node that was a sticking point. Sometimes it was the required characters. Sometimes it was just like a cosmic villain character. Well, not cosmic villain, that's actually pretty easy. But, you know, there was always a node that you kind of got stuck on, and it felt like balancing was bad. And that comes with the territory. That's fine. They need to get better at that balancing on a grander scale, so that they don't need to do this stargating nonsense that is just paid progression plan, and allow players to try and get in there and do their thing, because it's very rewarding to squeeze in that extra star on a character when nobody says you can do it. You know? And there's lots of members of the community that are making videos showing you how, if you have the patience and the wherewithal, that low star, high built character can get through there, and you can come out with that extra star, extra red star, or whatever on this legendary character. And that's where it really needs to be for me.
Do you think that this event, if this was the first trial we ever saw, so we're going straight from Omega Red to this, do you think there'd be anywhere close to the same amount of backlash? Do you think
Not
it's
at all.
worse than those
Not
ones,
at
or do you
all.
think
It's
it's
that
just
we're
that we've been a
taking
little bit
step
spoiled?
backwards. It's that we're taking a step backwards, and after all the lessons we learned with Apocalypse and how much the community has said, we want agency, we want to be able to theory craft, and they said, okay, we're not ever going to do Apocalypse again. And by the way, I liked the Age of Apocalypse, that whole thing. That was a lot of fun as a one-off. I understand that everybody was building the same thing, and that you can't do that long term because no one wants to build old teams. I understand all those faults, but I did enjoy it for what it was worth. It was a fun experience for me to do it in the moment. But I see everybody else coming into it going, I don't want to build that stuff. So you can't really do that. But yeah, coming from an old legendary into this system wouldn't be near as bad, but we took a big step back because they stopped stargating and they allowed players to play with skill and invest their time instead of money. And apparently the screen time metric is not something that they have any value on or something. I guess I'm not really sure, but you know, for me, this kind of a change, if it continues to be like this, if we continue to be told what raid team we're going to use and where, and if we're told that every single team that comes out, we have to build to a certain level, which is basically where it's at with Spotlight raids, right?
Yep.
All of this continuing down this path, they're going to get a lot less screen time from me. They're going to get 0 screen time from me, because that's not the kind of game I want to play. That's not challenging. That's not fun. That's not interesting. That is a script. That's somebody telling me what to do and asking me to open up my wallet to do it. It's garbage.
I also enjoyed the Apocalypse saga. My only complaint with it is, like, not necessarily that I had to build the same teams as everybody else, although that is frustrating. It's that those teams then became, to some extent, the best things everywhere. So, like, If you
Right.
had to build those teams, so be it. But then the fact that Arena got so incredibly stale because everybody's running the exact same Arena team at the exact same specifications was so boring. And we're just finally getting away from that. Like the Arena right now is the first time since I've started playing top 200, let's say, where there's actually a rotation of characters and it's not just mirror matching. And like, do you have the
Right,
newest
I've got like
character?
four or five save squads for my arena teams. I've never used save squads for arena before.
Exactly. You build the one
it's
team
great.
and you're like, this is what I use.
Arena's got a good healthy meta that's been changing with characters, and Cosmic Crucible is much the same way. These new characters come in and it changes what we put in rooms. So even mid-season, we're seeing things getting mixed up. Room 2, Room 5 are big examples with the Spider Society coming out.
Yep.
Suddenly everything's changing there and keeping it fresh. That's fantastic. So I get it. If they did a similar, and I know it's not the Age of Apocalypse. I know they want to use the term age as a story arc, but we all knew it at the time as Age of Apocalypse. I'll call it the Apocalypse Pyramid, I guess.
Sure.
So I wouldn't mind another Apocalypse Pyramid if we had two choices of teams everywhere. So you could build 5 characters from a list of 10 characters, and then you could decide which ones to invest or mix and match. That, I think, would be a lot more fun. I think that if they did these Scourge trials where we had Out of Time and the Cabal on one node, and we could choose to build one or the other to the 5-star, 6-star, 7-star, I'd feel a little bit better about that, because at least I have a choice of which characters I need to push for, right? At least I have some choice, but there's no choice in it the way it stands. It is do what they tell you to do, and you won't progress any farther unless you buy offers or we give you more shards.
And correct me if I'm
Mercy.
wrong. Because I think Green Goblin is exactly like this, where you only had like one team you could use on one node and a different team you could use on a different node. But I want to say Nova did give you exactly what you were talking about. You had 2 teams that you could use on the specified node. So there'd be like gated nodes per se.
Nova, you could be right, but yeah, there were 2 choices of teams.
Yeah.
That was the best for me. That was amazing.
Yeah, but I know
it was an older team and a newer team.
Yeah, I know for Green Goblin it was Infestation because I had to build. No, not Infestation. New Avengers.
Was it new? It was New Avengers. You had
whatever
to
the
build.
Tigra team
because
was.
I had to build New Avengers and I wasn't happy about it.
Exactly. I didn't want to build that team, but they're like, no.
Right.
You have to take this team up to a certain point because Green Goblin's amazing and you want him. And it feels exactly like that. Like they built this ridiculous Wolverine character that you absolutely want, but you have to build these other characters. Now, that being said, my Peggy, my Captain America were already built to the moon. My Black Knight, why wouldn't you take him to the moon? Cabal, why wouldn't you take them to the moon? Starbrand and CGR are the only like really bad if factors. Like they're the only ones that I really don't want to build. My Loki's already built, and I think you're going to be able to get Phi without building Emma. Again, assuming you don't need to sack on node 10.
Right.
So it's really only the 2 characters that I don't want to build. But in this meta where there's so little gold, there's so little training mats, I don't have those resources. And as far as we know, God, I'm supposed to be the positive one. As far as we know, you're going to need gear tier 19, level 100, 7-star characters to beat level 15 to get the 7-star token. Because you're not going to be able to build with shards. You have to get those tokens. If they put that behind a ridiculous paywall, you're screwed.
Tokens. It doesn't work. You can't slow play like we used to do if you didn't want to build some garbage team. And I did this for Green Goblin. I was so upset at myself because they changed it in the middle of the Green Goblin trials, where I could slow play it over and over and over and just keep accumulating those shards. And then they ended up they took the leaderboards away or something. Anyway, they changed it, and I didn't go in at the last minute and run it again to get the extra shards. And I ended up having to wait till the next iteration so that I could get 7 stars on Green Goblin. And I had to build my New Avengers. Is the New Avengers the Ronin and Tigra team? I always forget what their name, because I hate the team so much. I don't care.
Same.
Right? You know? And I had to build them, and I absolutely built them to the minimum level you could do. And I had another content creator come on stream and walk me through click by click to get through that node. And otherwise, that would have been an absolute nightmare. And I really didn't like the investment level that I put in the team in the first place, because New Avengers in War are getting stomped. People are using them on offense and breaking up the team because there's so many different things to beat them now. They fell out so fast. But that's what you got to build if you want those stars on Green Goblin, because Scopely tells you to. Let's talk about those tokens, though, for a little bit. What's good
sure.
about the token? Tell me, what do you like about these tokens?
So I liked the idea of tokens before they showed them how they were going to be used, because what I was hoping for was with tokens, what a nice thing would be. They talked about moments a little while ago. What I thought would be really cool is if you did a moment, like essentially an achievement of some kind, which is obviously not what moments are going to be, but I went off in my own little fantasy land for a little bit. If you could complete whatever the little moment was, you get the achievement. When you got the achievement, you got a token, and a token would be a way of bringing up an older, let's say a dead character, to a somewhat usable level. That would be a great way of saving you gold, training materials, and the other, like the uniques and stuff like that. So you could take like a Daredevil that has not been useful in this game since I started playing, put him up to like level 80, 85. There's no investment in it other than thank you for playing our game. We appreciate you. I don't know if they're going to rework Daredevil at some point, but I thought that would be a really cool like gift to the community where you're like, here's a token. I mean, if you've already got Daredevil built up, who cares? But I don't know anybody who does. Here's a token. Here's a character. Like, that'd be kind of fun. Instead, we're getting this way of gating new characters, which is really unfortunate. The only positive is you're going to save about 80,000 gold.
Right. And by the way, everybody, Mongooli's going to come up with a whole new line of infographics showcasing what these tokens are actually valued at if you were to bring the character up by your own accord. Right, Mongooli? That's what you're going to do, right?
Sure. Yeah, I was looking into it earlier, and it's like, oh, man, it is.
But
it's rough.
You're right. They have a token, and the token could have been awesome, and instead it's a double-edged sword, and they're swinging it back at us. And now, instead of being able to do the trial over and over and over and collect shards each time, you have to invest your star levels on these characters and build them up and beat it at the highest difficulty.
Yeah. Now it's an all or nothing. Like, they keep saying, like, they're trying to spin it like, oh, you're going to get a 4-star character. You're going to get a 4-star unlock. That's at 930,000 points. Now, unless they change this system drastically, that's a lot. Like, that's not like an easy investment for newer players. And newer players aren't going to unlock like, oh, I got 40 shards. Next time I get another 40 or 50, and soon I'll have the character unlocked. No, until you can hit the 930 bar, no character for you.
Right. Now, explain to me the chart that's above our head right here. At difficulty 8, it unlocks a 4 yellow star token.
That's correct.
And where do we get the 5 yellow star, X amount of reds? At what level does that token come into play?
So I don't know that we know for the red stars, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be part of the leaderboard. So we'll have to find that out when the event goes live. I don't know that that's been actually specified, but they're not available here, so I have to assume. And historically, we get the raid stars from the leaderboards from the previous trial events, so they're just going to go on that information. As far as the 5-star, 6-star, and 7-star unlock, we don't 100% know, but you can see that you require a 5-star character, a 6-star character, and a 7-star character. So Smart Money is saying that you're going to need a 5-star team in order to unlock a 5-star Wolverine. And then same for the 6-star and same for the 7-star. So for the 7-star Wolverine, it looks like you are going to have to complete the game at difficulty 15. Now, if you have to beat it at difficulty 15, what is the point of a scoring system? Because you're either going to do it or you're going to not. I sincerely doubt, I would be amazed, I would be blown away if you can get 4 stars on all your characters, turn on all of the packs, complete it at difficulty, I think it's 11, which doesn't require the 5-star difficulty or 5-star requirement, and you'll be able to creep your way in to get those stars. I would be blown away if that's an option. And if it is an option, fucking tell us already, because that would have alleviated so much of this anger.
Right, but that's not what I'm hearing, because I'm seeing community managers in chat, and they're not saying anything when those ideas are being brought up. Those ideas have been brought up in the server. No one's saying anything. So I don't know. I think that just allows you to push further in the leaderboard at the 4 yellow stars, at the 4-star character or 5-star character, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's all that is. I don't know.
It's a tiebreaker.
I would love that if that were the case. But because we keep asking that question and they're like, we don't want to tell you because it's bad news. That's why. If it were good news, they'd tell us.
Yeah. It would be actually not that bad. Okay, sorry. It would be better. Not good, but better. If you could do that, let's say you could do difficulty 10, every single pact on, squeak your way into getting that 5-star. Or if you've got 5 stars on everybody, you can do it without any packs on. You know what I mean? So like if you've got the requirements, it's easy for you. If you don't have the requirements, it's hard for you. Enjoy. And then you can kind of play at the level you can play at. If you want to be because my thing that I'm bothered with is if you are a highly engaged Kraken, you are going to mop the floor with a highly engaged player, a free-to-play player. The
Yeah.
problem is they're catering to the low engaged Krakens who don't want to play the game but want to get all the rewards. And those players were getting beaten by the highly engaged free-to-play players. And they don't want that. That's what they're getting rid of. That's what this is all about, really. Because the highly engaged Krakens are going to crush us every single time.
Right. And you know what? Krakens who spend money deserve to be able to get to difficulty 15 and smash through that or
100%.
Whatever, right? They spent the money. That's great. But those of us who don't have the money to spend and would rather spend our time investing in playing the game and strategizing and thinking our way through it because we enjoy the puzzle solving aspect of it instead of just mashing buttons and collecting that reward like we're in some sort of a cheap casino sitting there playing the penny slots. That's the fun part for us. They're taking that fun part away and they're saying, get in line with the Krakens and get to your spending bracket. That's where you're going to get. But I'm hoping I can come through with my, 4-star characters, go through difficulty 10 with all the packs turned on, get really high in the leaderboards and get something more out of it than just the 4-star unlock. If that were the case, then they're meeting us halfway and they're giving some of it. Does not sound like that's the case. It sounds like I'm going to need 5 stars to do difficulty 11. That's where it's going to play out at.
Now, okay, so again, I'm going to play devil's advocate for one quick second because they did mention in the past that they are going to get better at giving us 7 stars on a character inside of 6 months. Mm-hmm. So far, I think they've been true to their word on that one. The next battle pass that we're getting is going to be Peter B. Parker, who's a character that's been out for 3 weeks. And we're already going to get another pass at him. So, like, that's pretty good. If this takes, like, how long? I don't know exactly how long it took for Trials to come back in the past. But, like, 3 months, probably at the absolute earliest.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that next 3... So, we're going to get a 4-star, maybe a 5-star right now as somebody who doesn't spend more than battle passes, which I think is kind of where we're both at. Maybe we get a 5-star character. Now, if we don't invest anything beyond our character, we'll never get higher than a 5-star character. But in the next 3 months... there's a decent chance that these characters become farmable and are things that we can look for. And then we can get our 7-star character or at least our 6-star character the next time this comes around. So is the problem with this just that we're not getting our characters on the first pass? Because gone are the days of Icarus where we have to wait 2 years to get 7 stars on a character. So is it really just a matter of waiting another 3 months? And if so, is that really so bad?
For me, like I'm used to pushing because I was 100% free to play for a very long time, and I remember pushing those old legendaries and just barely squeaking by getting the unlock, and that's how it was. If you were fully engaged free to play, you just barely unlocked the character, and that was a big deal. And I remember Mobile Gamer and all the rest of them always saying there's no shame in unlocking the character on the second pass. Yeah, you know, there's no shame in it because it happened to a lot of us and it was a bad feeling, and so that was kind of the mantra we all said back in the day. Now, I'm okay with unlocking a character at low stars. I think all characters in the game should go into your account at 1 star, right? I think we should everybody just gets the character at 1 star, and then we do things to get more stars, right? But I want to be able to play to get those things. So I don't care about getting a 7-star Logan out of the gate, especially free to play. That's absurd. I don't deserve that, right? But I want to be able to push to the next star level, whatever that star level is, and whatever my spending level is. I want to know that through strategy and patience and careful crafting going into those nodes, that I can push out 1 more star on that character because of the way I played the game, not because of how much money I spent.
All right, and that's it for the week in Marvel Strike Force. Are you looking forward to next week? Are you really just bummed out about everything going on this week? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you made it this far, please consider hitting that like button. It does actually help out quite a bit. And if you want to subscribe, that'd be amazing. We are, I think, 10 away from 700. My goal is to hit 1,000 and get monetized by the time my birthday comes around in October. So if you can help me hit that first goal or the second goal, that'd be amazing. Please consider doing so. You can also hang out with me live over at twitch.tv/TheMongoolie Show. I go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, so you can go check me out over there. Hit that follow button so you know when we go live and we can hang out in person. Ask me any questions you want. anytime. Other than that, Commanders, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this week treats you well, and I hope you're all healthy and safe. Other than that, good luck to you.